Welcome to We Need to Talk Now, presented by AT&T. I'm Alicia J, and I'm here with the one and only Ashley Nicole Moss.
Where in the world are you, Alicia J?
Well, I am actually in New York. As you can see, I'm in a hotel room with a very interesting background.
Clearly from the 70s. I don't know what that is, but okay.
It's also giving me, the whole blot test thing with,
Yes. When you go
yeah,
to a
like when
shrink
you,
or something. Yeah.
yeah, all of that. Like I was kind of tripping out when I checked in last night, but you know what? We're good. We're good. But I'm in New York for the broadcast taping of We Need to Talk. So
Mm,
we had that today. I cover that socially. So everything that you see on the We Need to Talk handles, there's a team, but mainly it's me posting all of that stuff. So
love it.
yeah, it was an amazing show. By the time we drop this, it will have aired, but definitely check out for all those segments on our YouTube page. And speaking of our YouTube page, you gotta follow. You gotta
Yes.
actually, you know what? On YouTube, you can't follow. You have to subscribe. So
Yes.
go ahead, get on YouTube, subscribe, do all of the things, share with everybody. We just need to spread this around so we can all be in the conversation about sports because there's a lot to talk about. So,
Absolutely. And
tap
as
in
you
with
guys
everything
can
down
see
there.
here, all of our handles individually, collectively on all the social media platforms. But if you're somebody who's not on social, or maybe you like to listen to your podcast when you're driving into work or to the gym, wherever it is that you're going, we also have a QR code that makes it super easy. Go ahead and scan this, and this will let you know and pop us up wherever you listen to your podcast most frequently. We are on Spotify, we are on Apple Podcasts. So we have something for everyone, depending on how you like to go ahead and absorb your information. And like Alicia said, make sure you are sharing and sharing and sharing with a friend and sharing with another friend so that we can go ahead and just continue to grow women's sports across the board and you guys don't miss an episode. And listen, we spoke about this last show. We had the weekend of women's sports on CBS. We both gave CBS its well deserved flowers for helping to construct such an incredible weekend. There were so many sports to go ahead and digest, a little bit of something for everyone, depending on what you like. If you are into the W, an incredible set of games were showcased over the weekend. If you're into soccer, we have that. Like I said, a little bit of something for everyone. And the numbers are in. This is sports. This is the entertainment industry. This is the media industry. And we like to back things up with numbers because men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie.
Sure don't.
So, this weekend's Sky Fever game on CBS networks was the most watched WNBA game on any network. So, this is including all the networks that have showcased WNBA games throughout this particular season and over in the totality of the WNBA. So the most watched WNBA game on any network in 23 years
Let's
with
go.
2.25 million average viewers and a peak of nearly 3 million viewers. That deserves a round of applause.
Man,
Absolutely incredible.
all
And I
of
just
it.
want to point out it was a Sky Fever game, which means that people, almost 3 million, were tuning in to watch the Fever and the Sky. Just want to
Both.
make sure that we can go ahead and just make that very clear for people because I think that people tend to think that they're watching one team. No, there were two teams playing on the court. People tuned in for both of them. So just want to go ahead and showcase that and make that very clear in case anyone was misunderstood what those numbers meant. Alicia, this is amazing. This is a
Yeah.
great thing. I know that sometimes it gets a little difficult to find the light in all of the chaos and the darkness of the conversations that have been transpiring since the start of the season. But things like this make it a little bit better. It makes it a lot better, I should say, actually.
It definitely makes it a lot better. And, when you see those numbers, it's just going to translate into more and more things for women's sports. And I just love to see it in every single way. Love to see it. One thing, though, that I don't know if we love to see today.
Oh gosh.
Listen, we're a little,
I'm scared.
I know, listen, I saw it and I don't think that I love to see it, but we're going to look at it right now because Ralph Lauren came out with the
Yeah.
official Olympic outfits for the opening and closing ceremonies, and here they are. We have some things to say about this, but first, let's get a little background on why
Mhm.
it's constructed and how. So, the opening ceremony will see Team USA wear the classic blue blazer, as you see, with white and red trim, as well as the denim blue jeans, the light denim blue jeans, I may add.
Mhm.
So, David Lauren, the chief branding and innovation officer of the company, and Ralph's son, so Ralph Lauren's son,
Mhm.
said the reason that they did the blue jeans is because nothing says America like blue jeans, especially when we're in Paris. It gives the athletes a chance to feel a sense of a culture, but also feel like themselves in what is natural. Mm,
Mhm.
Um, Meanwhile, let's just go to the closing ceremonies before we get into what we got to say. It features an all white denim fit with a moto jacket, as you can see, that Ralph Lauren says is a nod to Ralph Lauren's notable passion for automobiles and motoring styles. And, to me, it's giving pit crew, but um,
Yeah.
both of them are a lot for a lot of different reasons. Ashley, what do you think about these opening and closing looks?
Um, okay, so I understand the whole American aspect of it. I remember reading an article, I want to say it was in Vanity Fair years ago, and the blue jean is the most American piece of clothing that there is. They don't really wear jeans like that overseas in Europe, places like that. It is an American staple. So I'm not mad at the jean aspect. The thing is though, I feel like I've seen this before in Tokyo. It's kind of like a rehashing, a recycling of like the same look, the blazer, the jeans. And also like blazers don't look good on everyone. You have to have a certain cut to wear a particular blazer cut. And this particular cut looks good on these models because they're not very masculine or muscular, I should say, in terms of like their build. They're a little bit more slim, trim, very European kind of cut. We're sending over 7-footers. You know what I mean? We're sending over athletes that have a lot of muscle mass, a lot of height. I don't know necessarily how this is going to look on, say, a Joel Embiid, for example. It seems like it's going to be a little snug. Um, I don't mind the bottom look so much. We were talking about this before the podcast started. The jacket is cool. I didn't need the pants to go with it. Like the
No.
Team USA going down the leg, we could have just done like a solid white jacket, maybe a dark blue pant. I mean, a solid white pant or a dark blue pant. I don't think we get it. Team USA, we can tell by the colors, we can tell by the flag, we can tell by the jacket. I don't think I need that on the pants. It just doesn't. I don't know. It just seems it's just a lot. It's a lot of red, white, and blue, and I get it. America, go USA, go get the gold. But it's like sometimes less is more.
Yeah,
That's just how I
let's
feel.
I agree. Also, let's talk about jeans in the summer in Paris. Let-
Good point.
Let's talk about that because I know I'm not
Yeah.
trying to wear any jeans in Paris. So there's that.
Uh-huh.
And also there's so many aspects of the USA that make it beautiful. And I don't think that it needs to just be, the colors, the blatant USA. There are other
Mhm.
things that you can like fold in and also ask the athletes. Like, I hope that they actually, the athletes have so many different amazing looks, right? Like, you see them in the
Mhm.
tunnels, you see them walking up to games. Like, they know what moves the needle in style and also in American
Mhm.
style. So I hope that if they didn't this time around for the
Yeah.
Olympics, that they would ask athletes like what they want to wear and what's going to look good. I know it's a lot of athletes to ask, but like maybe have a
Mhm.
committee or something because I just don't think that these two looks like they're going to be excited about me
Or
personally.
you could have like designed multiple opening and closing ceremony like mock-ups, like sketches, and maybe put the top 3 to a vote.
Yes.
And then it's like at the end of the day, majority rules, and it's not going to be for everybody, but at least the majority of the athletes that we're sending over would feel comfortable and, cool in whatever it is that they're wearing. I guess you can do it that way. I'm not mad at like the color scheme because we're going to see like other countries just load on their, flag colors. I just think that it's, again, kind of at least the blazer aspect is very repetitive of what we saw in Tokyo. Like I
Yeah.
vividly remember what they were wearing for their opening ceremony, and it looked just like this. So I don't know.
Yeah, I
Maybe
also
we need
feel
a
like
different designer to do it. I don't know.
I don't know, but
Just
they're both a miss for me
what do
personally.
we know? We're not going to the Olympics anyway.
I'm
So
definitely not. I'm definitely not, but I don't know, closing look in particular just looks like they're about to, like, launch to the moon. Like, it's
it's
giving
the
me
pants and
astronaut.
the jacket. I feel like if the jacket was just by itself and it was a solid pant, I feel like it wouldn't be as like astronaut like. You know what I mean? I don't know. But then again, no one's asking us to go represent America and Team
They
USA. So
aren't, and I'm glad because I wouldn't even want to wear that. No, I'm just playing. I'm not glad. I would go. Listen, if anyone needs me for their teams, I'm going. Like, let me just be clear. But it's gonna be hot, stuffy.
yeah.
People are gonna be sweating. It's just no, no, no. No, no, no. Call us up next time, Ralph.
Go Team USA though. We're rooting for
Yes,
you.
absolutely, in every single
Yeah.
way. I'm still gonna cheer for him, but, like, call us up because I
Mhm.
think we can help next time. But speaking of Team USA, someone who's definitely a lock to be on the national women's team for soccer, even though, it's kind of an unofficial thing right now, but people are just saying that she's a lock, is Naomi Girma. And today she was on our broadcast show, and it was an amazing interview. And I thought, why wouldn't we just share that? So definitely check this amazing interview out. AJ Ross and Renee Montgomery, who are both hosts on We Need to Talk, did the interview, and it was great. So let's just roll it.
Welcome back to We Need to Talk. Naomi Girma, she's got a national championship with Stanford, the first overall draft pick in the 2022 NWSL draft, playing for the San Diego Wave and the U.S. women's national team. Naomi, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
And here we are coming off of Father's Day. I got to ask you how integral your father was in developing your love for soccer and, of course, just continuing to support you throughout your professional career now.
Yeah, he was a huge part of it. He grew up playing in Ethiopia and really shared the love of the game with me and my brother. And I started playing because of him. He started a little league for the Ethiopians in the Bay Area, and that's really where it all started for me.
Yeah, I heard that community is growing at a rapid rate. Now, listen, you were the back-to-back Defenders of the Year, kind of similar to Asia Wilson in the WNBA. She was back-to-back Defenders of the Year, too. She talked about climbing to the top of the mountain, but I really think the hardest part is staying at the top. So what is that like being so young, knowing that, like, a lot of people, I Googled you, by the way, and there was tweets that were saying, like, I don't care, she's the best, she's my favorite. What is that like at such a young age?
I mean, it's an honor for sure to win those awards and to have people supporting me the way they do. But yeah, like you said, I feel like I'm still pretty young, pretty early on in my career. So I think I'm still climbing too, and I'm still trying to reach my potential and keep growing as a player and a person. So yeah, it's obviously a huge honor, but yeah, I don't think it's the top yet for me.
Well, your potential was recognized as U.S. Soccer's 2023 Female Player of the Year. As the first defender ever in history to win that award, do you take special pride in that, being that it, of course, takes a certain mentality to play your position?
Yes, I was really honored with that too. And I think a lot of times defenders go under the radar. So I was happy to win one for all of us. And I think there's just been such great defenders that have played on the U.S. national team before me. I had the privilege of playing with some of them and learning directly from them. So I think it was just a huge honor, and hopefully more defenders win it in the future.
Yeah, you better put some respect on defenders' names. So listen, the NWSL is similar to the WNBA, where there's a break literally in the middle of our season where you have to focus on your games now with the Wave, but then you also are looking forward to being excited for the Olympics. Like, how do you balance those two dynamics? Because we got a couple players on my team that are going to have to do the same.
Yeah, I mean, I think we just have to focus on where we're at in the moment. So when we're at camp with the US, it's, how do we get the most out of that? How do we improve as a team there? And then when I'm here with the Wave, it's making sure that we're trying to get the best results and just keep pushing through our season. So I really try to stay in whatever team I'm in. And I think that usually helps me perform my best and help the team I'm on the most.
Well, speaking of perform your best, y'all are kind of under a rock star right now. Emma Hayes is about to be the new coach of the U.S. soccer team. What is that like? I mean, she's a serial winner. Clearly you like to win. What is that combination going to be like?
I think it's going to be great. I mean, just having her and her staff come into our camp like a couple weeks ago was great, and just getting to know her as a coach, as a person, getting to know, the style she wants us to play was really awesome. And I think it's going to be really good for the development of the federation as a whole and our team moving forward.
And this is a U.S. women's national team kind of going through a transition with the younger players assuming some more, high-profile roles, including one of your best friends, Sophia Smith. Describe that chemistry and that synergy with the younger group.
Yeah, I think it's been great. A lot of us kind of coming into the team in the past couple years. I think having some time with more experienced players is really beneficial for us, just to learn like the culture, the mentality of the team. And now just us taking on bigger roles is really special. Like Soph, like you mentioned, Trinity, a few players that have been great in the league and are now also shining on the national team.
Well, I got to ask you on deck, the Wave are facing Gotham FC on Wednesday night. What are you anticipating from that matchup?
I think it's going to be a great game. I mean, we've played twice already this year. So, we're both familiar with each other, and, we're playing away in their stadium. I think should be a pretty good crowd. So I'm definitely excited to play them, and hopefully we get a good result.
Well, Naomi, thank you so much for joining the show. And please know all of us are rooting
Let's go!
for you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We are definitely rooting for her and rooting for the whole team. So really, really excited that we had that interview with her. She's fantastic. Obviously, you saw that. And, I'm just really excited to see whatever team, everything's unofficial right now, but whatever team is playing, whatever national team is playing in this Olympics, I'm really excited to watch it because it's going to be electric. So
yeah. And speaking about that break in between your season and then having to kind of shift your focus, and then once that's over, shift your focus back, is definitely difficult. I mean, we see this in the NBA, and that's just the All-Star break, how difficult it is to go from being in the grind and the constant, pattern and routine of games, workouts, practices, and just doing that over and over. And then even that 1 week of time can throw off some of even the best teams. And to, do that for 2.5, 3 weeks between training camps and practices and then the actual Olympics, and then having to kind of bring yourself back to just focus on your singular task of focusing on just your league and not the whole country is crazy. So I wish her and everybody, who will, like you said, nothing is official, but we're hoping that it will be for her, and whoever goes over to represent our country, just wish them the very best. And speaking of making difficult transitions, Renee mentioned the W going on break soon, hiatus rather, to go ahead and focus on the Olympics. And one team that probably can't wait for this break is the Aces, because they are not looking like themselves. Las Vegas Aces are off to a 6-6 start, which with that 6 losses on their record is matching the total amount of losses that they had last season. So it definitely looks like, unless they're going to go on this crazy win streak, they're going to have more losses than they did this time last year. They're currently 3rd in the Western Conference behind Minnesota and Seattle, and they sit 5th overall in the league standings. Don't want to brag, but my Liberty look really good right now. Just want to put that out there. Shout out to my New York Liberty girl.
Just had to put that in there. Okay.
But there's a lot to dissect with this particular team, because obviously A'ja Wilson is having a historic start, and she spoke about her as an individual player. And she said, look, it's great. The accolades are amazing, but, I have to go ahead and pull greatness out of my teammates because that's not what we are right now. We haven't been as great, as dominant as we could be. And, there's a lot of issues and things that you can dissect. One of them being, is there issues of depth right now? Chelsea Gray obviously is not back from her foot injury that she suffered at the end of last season. Coach Becky basically said it's just around the corner, her return that is, but just around the corner in coach's terminology could be a week, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. They don't like to give timetables.
Never know.
There's also a lot of other issues within the roster in terms of scoring or lack thereof, and what adjustments you can make to the roster to go ahead and figure out how to go ahead and fill the gaps and the the holes of lack of scoring, especially when it comes, down the stretch and things like that. So, Alicia, there's so much to dissect here because I think going into the season, and rightfully so, everybody had this as the team to beat. And I think when you think about the Aces this season versus last season, I think at this point, of course, anything can happen in this league, but it almost seemed like they were untouchable when we were talking about this time last year. And now that larger than life, that almost, untouchable aspect, that aura that surrounded them last year, it doesn't seem like they're as unbeatable, at least right now, that it did last year. So how do they go ahead and evoke that fear back into their fellow, teams and peers? Because as the reigning champs, that's kind of your right, is to make people feel like it's scary to face you. And right now they're not looking so scary.
Yeah, they're not. And I think one of the main things that they need to do is step that defense up. The defense is not defending right now. Okay.
That's true too. Yeah.
Right. I'll give you some stats surrounding the defense. So went from first to ninth in defense in the league. So that's like a huge drop. They're also ninth in like opponent scoring. So in their 5 losses, the Aces gave up 90 points are giving up 90 points per game, 90 plus points per game. So that's not a good thing either. Coach Hammond said that they would get an F for guarding the 3-point line specifically. So, you really have to step that defense up in every way. And you mentioned Chelsea Gray. I definitely think that not having her out there on the court is a huge detriment, not just because she's an amazing point guard, because obviously she is the best, but also just her leadership, her presence. The Aces are a really big chemistry team. Like you can see that they love each other. And I think not having, their point guard out there on the floor is not only, obviously with the basketball statistics, like she can help in that area, but also I think with the camaraderie too, just having her out there, it's like you're having a big piece that is gone. So all of those things are definite things that, are making this start happen. And I also just want to say too, yes, they were the ones to beat coming in, but I think a lot of these teams in the W right now have got, parts that they needed to enhance their teams, and their chemistry is getting, better, and they're really gelling and they're playing really well. And so, their start could be attributed to that as well, because these teams are balling.
Yeah,
Period.
I was going to say too, what makes it so difficult and also impressive in the same regard when you end up two-peating or three-peating is that teams get better, to your point, and teams learn. It's almost like the whole concept behind like robots and AI, right? Like it's supposed to learn as it goes. And when you're talking about competitive leagues, and when you're talking about leagues that are constantly changing every single year for the better and getting more competitive and deeper and smarter, you're also talking about teams starting to figure out other teams, which again goes back to why it is so impressive and difficult to two-peat, because every year you have coaches, you have scouts, you have players that are watching film and learning how to go ahead and beat the top dog. And I wonder if we're at that moment when it comes to the Aces. I think their first 2 championships, people didn't know how to deal with them. It was just like this dominance on both ends of the court. It was dominance in their players, and it was a shock to the system. Like, okay, what the hell? How do we stop this? And then the following year, it was the same thing. There were moments where you saw some teams get close, but quite not close enough to go ahead and completely take them down. third time's the charm though, right? Because now you know what works, you know what doesn't work, you know what they're missing, you know what you have, you know what they don't have. So it's just a system of getting smarter. And I think to your point though, yes, the Aces have things that they haven't done well this season, but I also think we have to give credit where credit is due, to your point also, that teams are getting better. And I think that they're just in a better position to go ahead and beat the top dog, which is going to make the top dog work harder to remain the top dog.
Absolutely. So all of those things, in tow is great for the league because we're watching great basketball all the way
Right.
around.
Yeah.
Um, and it continues to get better. It continues to get better every year. But definitely, I think once Chelsea Gray comes back, and obviously Becky is going to get them into formation, she's not going to continue to let that defense be the way that defense is defensing.
Nice
So,
quote. Nice way to quote Beyonce there, girl. Get information.
well, we like to throw that in whenever we get a chance because we know this. But, when all of those things occur and fall into place and lock in, we're going to see a different Aces team. And
For sure.
also, I think in general, after that break, it's going to be a different landscape too, because people are going to, have that rest, or if they're coming back from the Olympics, they have that kind of like
Momentum.
burst of energy, all of
Yeah.
those things. I think we're going to see a difference in all of the teams too coming back. So that will be a very interesting thing to watch as well.
Alicia, before we celebrate our rooks in this next segment, we have to go ahead and send positivity to one of our rooks. Cameron Brink went down with a apparent knee injury very early on. I should say leg injury very early on in the Sparks game tonight. We say apparent because we don't have any further information. We're not going to speculate. We're just going to go ahead and do what social media did, and that is just send positive energy her way. Obviously, you never want to see anybody get injured. I think it hits even harder when it's a rookie just trying to figure things out in real time and already have just so much pressure and scrutiny on their shoulders. Again, we're very much hoping that the injury looked worse than it actually is. And we will keep you updated as we figure things out. But we just want to send love, light, and positivity to Cameron Brink and hope it's just not that bad.
Yeah, I echo everything that you just said. And Cameron, we're just sending you all the positive vibes and prayers. We're sending them all to you.
It's the NWSL on CBS Sports Network. Keep your eyes on me.
The rookies in the WNBA are changing the game in ways, collectively, there are a lot of things that are changing women's sports, but they're definitely moving the needle.
Mm-hmm.
And we're seeing a lot of amazing play from these rookies. And I'm just it might be a little bit too early for this. I know we did this kind of at the beginning, but I'm just going to straight up ask you, Ashley, who would be your pick with watching the rookies right now? Who would be your pick for Rookie of the Year?
Okay, so when we first had this conversation, I had Cameron Brink. I think that I've changed my tune on that a little bit, just because although she is still dominant defensively, she's leading, or she's tied rather for second in the W right now for blocks. Offensively, she's still trying to find her rhythm a little bit. But that's not uncommon with players that lean towards their defensive side a little bit more than their offensive side. I'm between, and I know the internet's going to hate this because they love to pit these women against each other.
Mhm.
Right now, for me, it's between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark for different reasons. I think Angel Reese defensively, she's right now leading all rookies in rebounds, steals, and double-doubles, had her 6th consecutive double-doubles Sunday, tied for most by a rookie in league history. So she's absolutely dominant in what she does really, really well, which is get down low, go ahead and get those rebounds, be physical. Caitlin Clark, much credit to her. She's starting to find her groove and find her rhythm like we knew that she would. She just needed a second. She's leading rookies in points, assists, and she's 4th in the W right now in assists, rather, excuse me. She's tied with Diana Taurasi for second most games with 20 plus points, 5 plus rebounds, 5 plus assists, which is great company to be in. I think that when we talk about the rookies, both of these young women are a tier ahead of their rookie class, I would say, for different reasons. I think that after the break is going to really go ahead and separate one from another as the games progress. But for me, it's between those two. I don't know if I have a clear-cut favorite because I do see areas that both of them can improve throughout the rest of the season. But I just think it's right now, it's one of their awards to lose. I think it's between the two of them easily.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that for sure. But I am leaning towards Angel
Mhm.
Reese.
Okay. Not mad at that.
Yeah, double double queen. We
Yeah.
know this, double double queen, but the reason
She's
why
been
I'm
highly
leaning towards,
consistent as well from the start of the
and
season.
that's exactly what I was gonna say, is her consistency. Definitely from the start, Angel came in ready to go and she's been
Mhm.
consistent. So if I were to lean towards
Mhm.
somebody right now as it stands between both of them, because I do agree that it is one of theirs to lose.
For sure. Yeah.
Um, I would lean towards Angel because she has been consistent. She's shown us every night that she's going to get out there and ball on both ends. She contributes on both ends. So I, with that consistency in tow, I would pick Angel Reese.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. And again,
Yeah.
there's a lot of season left to play, so this is a way too early prediction. But if we're gonna go and look at the totality of the season, definitely. And I also think, Angel came into this season coming out of college different than Caitlin in the regard of I thought she was a more WNBA ready than Caitlin was.
Mhm.
I felt the same way about Cameron Brink, but just because of things that not necessarily just things on the court, but also her physicality. I just think that she's built more um she's better built for that transition from college to the pros, and there are some players who have to work towards that better build for that transition. And I think Caitlin Clark, she's got to build up her strength a little bit. It took her a while to figure out court awareness to be able to do the things she does very well, which is assist that basketball. She's getting better each and every time. The physicality of the game was kind of making her struggle a little bit in terms of doing what she likes to do well. And Angel, I think, had an easier transition just because she's bigger, she's stronger. And I think also LSU played a more dominant physical game than I did Caitlin played at Iowa. So that transition also was easier. So I would not be mad at that at all. I think right now, if I did have to pick, I would agree with you that Angel has a little bit of an edge over Caitlin. Again, a lot of season left to be played, so we're not crowning anyone. But I would agree with that definitely. It's not a knock to either girl at all. So
Yeah, no knock. They're both making their case for sure.
yeah.
And, there are other rookies, obviously, that are working hard. And who would be your pick for somebody who is quietly making their case? Like somebody who isn't necessarily in that conversation every day, but they're still out there putting in the work and balling, and they could make their way up in those ranks.
That's a good question. I like Rakia a lot in LA. I also think she's fly, so that doesn't hurt.
Super.
Um, Camilla, I think, has had a nice adjustment coming in late to the start of the season because, of her injury. I think she's been acclimating well. Um, Again, it's such a drastic, not a drastic, but there are tiers to, I feel like, this rookie class. But if I had to go ahead and say kind of my under radar, I like how they're looking, and I would definitely keep my eye on them after the break. It would probably be those two girls right there.
Yeah, my pick would be Rakia as well. Coming in, they were saying that she, out of all the rookies, was probably the most WNBA ready, and just
Mm,
the way that she contributes on both sides. She had her first career double double, which is really good, and she's building off of that. She shot 60% from the field in the last game that she had, and has had 7 double-digit games in the WNBA.
mhm,
She shoots 47.3% on the season, and that's making her rank in the
mhm.
top 20 players in the WNBA. So I don't even know if that's quietly making her case because those numbers are pretty solid, but she's definitely someone that I think we should look out for and continue to look out for in this race to being rookie of the year, because
Yeah.
she is putting in those numbers, putting in that work, and she's a fantastic player and a fantastic rookie. So
Listen,
definitely
this
looking out for her.
this rookie class has just been so much fun to watch. Just so much talent, just so much possibility. It's just really, really a great time to be tuning into the W if you haven't been already watching. So just enjoy and just let the girls cook. Let the
Yeah.
girls cook. That's my
Let
hashtag.
them cook.
Let them cook. And speaking of cooking, it is now time for one of our favorite segments that we're going to go ahead and cook in. It is time for Connecting Changes Everything, presented by AT&T. All right, Alicia, this is not a ideal situation, but we're going to dive into it and explain exactly why. So this week we are talking stadium scheduling after the Chicago Red Stars were bumped from their home of SeatGeek Stadium in favor of a music festival. Now, if it wasn't Beyonce, then it doesn't matter. I'm just kidding. Listen, last week it was announced that the Riot Fest would hold its 3-day concert event from September 20th to this 22nd. So through September 20th through the 22nd at SeatGeek, the Red Stars' home since 2016. Now the team is scheduled to play the San Diego Wave on September 21st, and they are now left trying to find a new venue to hold that game. Now, Red Stars president spoke about this in a release and said, quote, "It's unfair and unfortunate to have our club put in this situation, shining a light on the vast discrepancies in the treatment of women professional sports versus men's. We are committed to ensuring our players and fans have a first-rate experience on and off pitch, and we are working diligently to find a solution that will ensure our September 21st game is a success." Now, this is not the first time this has happened. Angel City FC had to reschedule its season opener this year due to an, quote, "unforeseen scheduling conflict." San Diego's new MLS team will reportedly have priority over the NWSL San Diego Wave when it comes to scheduling home games in their shared stadium. And last October, Wave coach Casey Stoney also addressed this and basically said, quote, it frustrates me again that we're the established team in the market and a men's team comes in and gets first picks on the schedule. Shame that it continues to happen." Listen, we spoke about this with Jenny when she was on the show. My question to her was basically about, how can we make venues more, whether it's proximity, whether it's capacity, whether it's establishing venues, arenas, stadiums, whatever the case may be, that are solely for that particular team. So there are no scheduling conflicts. This is unfortunate because you have to imagine, if you are a fan of any of these teams that I mentioned, but specifically talking about the Chicago Red Stars right now, and you planned your whole weekend to be, in Chicago to go ahead and be able to watch this and maybe do some sightseeing. You had plans on being at SeatGeek Stadium. That's gone out the window, which changes the entire fan base. Some fans may not be able to travel depending on where they're rescheduled to. It's just very unfortunate that the priority of a home team is not being prioritized.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, as a matter of fact. If you have a team that has been in your venue since 2016, you mark off every game that they're going to have. You mark that off. You're not bringing any music festival in there. You're not bringing anybody in there because it's theirs to have for that game, that matchup, that championship, or whatever. You get the schedule ahead of time. You know when these games are going to be, sometimes the championship games, like, I get because of the going back and forth, there may be some scheduling things that occur there. But even then, if you know that the championship is going to be in this area, you mark those off. They are somebody who is established, bringing money in. They are somebody who deserves to have that spot. So give that to them. Just mark it off the list. There's nobody that should come in and bump the Red Stars off, or any team that has earned that spot. And then when it comes to the MLS team, if somebody has established attendance and established that they should be in that arena first, find a different venue for the MLS team. We've had to do it in the opposite way for many, many, many years. So literally, they're not getting the attendance, go and find another venue. There is one in the city that they can
Mhm.
have. So they shouldn't be getting bumped at all. It is, again, they're established, they have the attendance, it's theirs to have, period. And this
Yeah.
siren right here is proving my case because, it is going off.
You
Okay,
can't
because
hear it,
I'm
but
mad,
I believe you being
and
in my
people should be mad
hometown.
about this
But
too.
you know what? It's also crazy too because I feel like we have seen teams bend over backwards for men's sports when it comes to scheduling. Like being a New Yorker and a New York fan of the Rangers and the Knicks, the Rangers were in the playoffs, the Knicks were in the playoffs at the same time, and the Knicks were actually playing, didn't have as much rest in between games as some of the other teams in the league because they were adhering also to the schedule of the Rangers in the playoffs. So
Mhm.
I feel like we have seen organizations and we have seen venues do everything in their power to make sure that each team has an opportunity to play at home and their fan base is there and bend over backwards to make sure that happens. So it's just very unfortunate that they're not giving that same consideration to women's sports, especially when those women's sports have already proven time and time again to have a high demand in terms of people who want to see them play and enjoy those games and go to those games. Just do better. That's all I got.
Do better. And also, in the past, when women's games have been bumped for men's, they always cited attendance and numbers
Mhm.
and money to the reason why they moved those venues. So in this case, it's the opposite. You're going to lose money by having the
Mhm.
MLS team there. So do what we've had to deal with for years and put them in a different venue, period.
I know that's right. Listen, figure it out.
Figure
And
it out.
speaking of figuring it out, it is now time for another favorite segment of ours, and it is called What's Up Now? And this is a reminder that just because the NBA finals are over doesn't mean that sports are over. I am here to remind you that unfortunately, as a New Yorker, the Boston Celtics are world champions for the first time in 16 years. It pains me from the bottom of my heart to say that, but here we are. Um, and it makes me very sad to go ahead and say that.
Are you
No,
gonna
Emma, I'm
you
going
gonna
to
be
say
all
world
right?
champions because they are world champions. I don't care what Noah Lyles has to say about it. World champions is the answer, is what we are calling them. It's world champions, NBA champions, depending on how you want to say it. The NHL playoffs are on the verge of being over. The Florida Panthers are actually kicking off their game against the Edmonton Oilers in about an hour. So there may be a parade in Florida relatively soon, in South Florida to be exact. But that does not mean that sports are over for the summer. There is the NWSL, there is the MLB, Athletes Unlimited, the WNBA after it comes back from hiatus, and softball season, lacrosse season next month. And obviously, we're going to be talking about it at nauseum. The Olympics, right around the
Yes.
corner, the Paris Olympics, which is going to showcase the best of the best. We are rooting for all of our Team USA members, representatives. We want gold in everything. Show everybody how we do things over here. So Alicia, what are you most looking forward to in this summertime vibe of sports?
Honestly, track and field at the Olympics. That's always been my
Yeah,
jam,
yeah.
always been my thing, and I know everyone's like, "Everyone loves track and field." Well, they do for a reason. It is
Mhm.
very exciting, and it's also so fascinating to me, especially, with people who are, running particular races that they
Mhm.
train for, like, 4 years for, like, seconds, you
Yeah, it's
know?
crazy.
It's really crazy, and so seeing that that is all on the line and seeing, how somebody has put their blood, sweat, and tears into this for this very short race, like, it gets me every time, like,
Yeah.
so I'm really excited about the Olympics. And that second half, I mean, I'm excited. The WNBA is going on right now, currently, but I will
Mhm.
be really excited and interested to see after the Olympic break, how these teams come back and finish out the season. So really excited to see that.
I'm with you. The W obviously going on right now. Come back after hiatus. I love the Olympics, Team USA, both men and women's, gymnastics, swimming. I'm very excited about. I honestly just I say this all the time. I love what the Olympics represents. I think that, when you're focused on your individual league sometimes and your favorite team and whatever the case may be, I think there's a lot of separatism sometimes. But I think that the cool thing about the Olympics, the special thing about the Olympics is that all that goes out the window for 2 weeks. And Team USA represents just the country and the best of the best. And it's not about, oh, you're a Laker and I'm a Celtic, or you're an Ace and I'm a Liberty. It's about, we're here, we're representing our country, we're teammates for the next 2 weeks. Let's go get the gold. I think there's something just super special and just sentimental about that. So I'm very excited to see the very best of the best that we sent over, men and women, represent our country and kind of show off a bit, bragging rights. And we want, like I said, we want all the gold medals. Bring them home. Bring them home.
All of them. I don't know if you noticed, but my light went out.
So I had to,
I had to turn on a whole nother light. But I think that's
spooky for a second.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's not cute. And this one isn't either. So I'm trying to find the right light personally too.
Yeah.
But
well, to your benefit, the show is over. So
I was gonna say, I feel like the light, this light right here said it's time for the show to be over.
It's time for the show to be over. Per Alicia's light, she told us it is time to go. So we are going to go. We want to thank you guys so much for spending another episode of We Need to Talk Now, presented by AT&T with us. We want to remind you to follow us on all social channels right here. Alicia and myself are individuals, and to my left, it's backwards, are all the social channels for We Need to Talk. Follow and subscribe. And if you're someone, like I said, who wants to listen to us audio-wise because you're doing things, you need your hands, we got you. You can go ahead and scan the QR code at the end of the show, and it will let you know where you can listen to us, whether it's Spotify, Apple Music, everything in between. And we'll be back with another episode this time next week. But until then, see ya.
See you next week with some better lighting because I'm cuter than you.